tidy things up, put all of the sculpture into its own collection. We call it fridge, or fridges here. And then we'll create a second collection, which will put all of the ground details in. We're going to create a simple subdivided mesh, make it into a little hill, and then we're going to make some tufts of grass, and we're going to distribute them over the surface using the particles hair system, just like was used for the velvet in the first chapter. So we've added a mesh that we're going to use as a blade of grass, add a couple of extra vertices so we've got a little bit more shape to it, duplicate it and rotate it each time to make it look more like a tuft. Again, because of the way the particle system produces instances, the orientation is looking down the z-axis. So you see we've just created a simple particle system. So we tweak the scale and distribution of the tufts to give the impression that we want. And then we add some simple children to spread them around into the gaps. There'll be more children, more tufts in rendering than just for the preview. You can also improve the look by adding a second kind of tuft with a different shape and having a second particle system. Of course, in the later versions of Blender you would do this much more easily using geometry nodes, which will be covered in a later chapter. But even as it stands, if you choose the quick effect fur, Blender will use particles like this, so it's worth knowing how it will operate, and certainly for machines which can't run the latest Blender you have to do this using particles. So this is the long stalks as a different particle system. And you need a different material for the ground of the hill and for the different kinds of tufts. And finally, to make the image more interesting, we add a volume shader inside a sphere around the sculpture. We use volume scatter and adjust the density to give it a morning mist type of effect.